Hello, everybody. Shalom. How you doing? Thought we'd have a little bit of intro music there, just to get us in the mood, so to speak. Shalom. First of all, I want to say all praise to the Most High for the gifts that He gives. I want to thank everybody for coming along to see what we can show you. Hopefully you've had a little look while the music was playing, to just sort of go into a little bit more visual depth of what me and Casey spoke about on his video that we did the other day about the secret of Noah and the flesh suit and this new understanding that we've been blessed with. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. So, what I've done here, I've done it in the normal way that I do it. I've got up the top here, I've got a list of the numbers that seem to repeat themselves all the way through the scriptures. There is more, I think, but this is basically in the chapters and verses that we're dealing with on this particular subject matter. And these numbers pretty much cover what we deal with. So, first of all, the number 2, as you can see here, the number 2 in creation plays a part with being the male and female of this species, really. The first male and female. And what I've done here, I've done male and female in red, which would be the good version of male and female, and the bad version of male and female, which would be the blue blood running line of things, which lead to this bit over here, the child of men, which you get into in Genesis just after the flood, I think. And also at that point they've sort of become flesh type physical beasts, and they've sort of fallen from the original plan that I think that we think sort of the Most High had for Adam and Hava, the mother of all future generations, because in the state that they were when they were created, they were, we believe, in this sort of kind of an ethereal type of divine creature, if you like, that was still at that point linked via the spiritual side of things, with obviously being the first creation of the Most High. They had a close link to him. They hadn't turned away from righteousness. They were pretty much naive to anything back in the garden, I assume. You know, comparing like the trees and everything else and the animals that were around them, they were literally just visual things that they took in through their eyes and saw all these things. They didn't actually know what roles they had, what function they had, probably even. So, you know, it's naivety in the sort of most defining sense of the word, I suppose. Like children, and we're told to sort of be like children, and that's probably what those two original creations were. And then we get into number 3. So what I've done here, I've tried to lay it out so that we can actually see it's pretty much similar to the mind, body and spirit thing that the New Age people go with, but this is what would be classed as the original idea, not this New Age take on everything, because as you know, we eventually fell through the fall of Eve and the fall of Adam to the desires of the flesh, corrupted by the serpent, and through that sort of act, Adam lost his spiritual connection to the Most High, and Eve as well, and that's why they were put out of the garden. And what was I going to say there? The next part that leads on from that is when they're actually out of the garden and they've given birth to the two twins, the Cain and Abel. Cain became ruled by the flesh side of things. He wasn't controlled by the spirit. If he was controlled by a spirit, it was the spirit of man. It wasn't the spirit of the Most High. And that part of him, the bad part that we all have to overcome, overcame him, and that led to the death of Abel, who was then replaced by the gift of the Most High again with Seth, who was another blessed offspring from Adam. There was others, I believe, as well. If we read, you see that there was daughters and other sons as well, although they're not listed for some reason. I don't know why. Obviously there is a reason, but without drifting off from what we're trying to cover here, that's probably a whole new video's worth of information on that stuff. So basically, they come out of the garden, and the generations carry on, all slowly. Can you say, kind of waning from the original intent that they should have been following. And then you get to Lamech, or Lamech, is actually the Western pronunciation, but as we know, there wasn't any E's, so it was an A sound, Lamech. And he was the father of Noah, and this is the breakdown of his name. So you have the Lamed, the Mem, and the Het, which is like the sound lock. It's the K with a CH sound, which gives it that part. And that's this symbol here, which is a symbol of the partition wall inside the tent. If you go to a picture here of the tent, the floor plan of a tent, you see this central line. We covered that in the video on bait, but this line that comes down in the center here divides the males of the household, which would have been in this entrance, kind of like protecting the entrance to the safety of the tent, and the family, the children, mother, sisters, everything else like that, would have been in the inner part of the tent. So that's what this symbol here, the Het symbol, is actually visually representing. And basically it sets apart one side from the other and separates. So Lamech's name is basically what leads and guides somebody. This is the shepherd's staff, endlessly setting them apart. So Lamech, as is the great plan of the whole thing, passes away in chapter 7 of Genesis, aged 777. So that's 3 lots of 7. 7 days was the creation, 6 of actually making things, naming things, and then the day of rest, which is Saturday rather than Sunday. That Sunday is their take on it. So the life and the death of Lamech pretty much completes the first creation cycle, which in over here to verse and chapter 8, we then have Noah, who has built the ark. We'll come to the ark in a moment. Filled the ark with all of the beasts of the field and the righteous humankind people that are worthy of replenishing the earth after the flood, after the storm, and everything else like that. So Noah's name, it starts here with this is written left to right, but as we know, the Hebrew comes from right to left. So this one here is the Nun, which is a picture representation, the paleo picture of a seedling. So you have like the germinating part of the seed at the top, and then the sprout coming down here. That's what that specifies as a seed. Then you have next to that, you have the, what would be the Vav or the Wa or the U sound, which is a picture of the tent peg, which means to be secured and fixed to. The next letter in Noah's name is the one that we had in Lamech's name, the Het symbol, which we've already covered. That means to be set apart, to be separated from something. So when you read that through, his seed, the seed of Noah, is secured and set apart on the ark, which was his probably destiny to actually make the ark, because by the time that Lamech had passed his line on to Noah, as we've already stated, you know, the children of men had started to run amok and basically do what thou wilt mentality in God's creation. And so it was through Noah building the ark that, as we know, we all know the story of how he put everything in the ark, and all the bad guys, as they portray in the film, are all camped out round the ark trying to get in, and, you know, trying to think that they are worthy enough to be able to enter the ark. I'm going to cover this maybe now, but maybe after I've run through everything. But there's a whole new thing that I want to bring out about the ark. So the ark, this is the Hebrew word for ark. It has the H in front of it and the H at the end of it, which means it's quite an important divine thing, obviously. So Hatab is the paleo picture of the hay, the towel, the bait, and the hay. And when you follow the meanings of those pictographs, you have the hay, which is worship, faith, praise, next to destination, which is the mark that you head to, and the house, which is what you belong to, backed up again, like given the double meaning, the boosted extra boost of worship, faith, and praise, with the H being added to the end of the word, like we've discussed before with all the other names that have the H added to their name, Abraham, Sarah, and so on. So, Hatab, the Hebrew word for ark, I've actually missed it. I scrubbed the letter off there. Let me put that letter back on there. That should be an L. So we have the ark is a vessel. What saves us? Where we find safety in. And it's filled with all the important items that you would need to have to sustain you through the trials, tribulations, and time that you were in that ark. And it goes deep with this because you have the number 2 present and the number 7. And we spoke the other day and we were saying that when a while back, when in the past, when Victorian times, they used to have like wooden toys of, I remember even when I was a child, they had plastic versions of Noah's Ark, and you'd always have 2 of everything, if you remember. You'd have 2 monkeys, you'd have 2 lions, 2 giraffes, 2 elephants, 2 zebras, 2 camels, 2 ducks, so on, so on. But what they don't tell you, or you don't discover when you're playing with a Noah's Ark model when you're a child, is that it should be 7 righteous creatures that were brought into the ark. Now, me and Casey have made an amazing discovery today, and I think we're going to cover that later in the video that we're doing at the end of the week, I think on Saturday, about the 7 things that were brought in the ark. The 2 things, and this is the revelation moment, the 2s represent the male and female that were brought in to the ark. The 7 represents the 7 actual righteous parts that you need to have as a righteous creation. And we'll be talking about that, like I said, in the video that we're going to do later this week. But to finalize the little brief summary on the ark here, the ark is a vessel, and we are a vessel. The ark is the vessel. So when you get into the deep stuff behind this of what the tent actually means and what the ark actually symbolizes. The ark represents the thing that you put treasure and something that is really important in. You know, think of all the things that the ark had in it. The Ark of the Covenant had all the holy things that were put into that actual ark. The same way that all the important things to the Most High were put in to the wooden first time around ark. The first time of actually something being made into an ark. Because if you go back to Adam, in a way, is a vessel. You have to kind of grasp the concept of him being a vessel. Now, I sort of got this this idea the other day that when we was watching the video and making the video, the Noah's Secret video, when Casey pointed out that Noah was drinking from the tree stump cup. And I thought to myself, I think I said in the video, why isn't he not drinking out of a clay cup? Because they would have made clay pottery cups, which would have been an earthenware cup. So Adam was made of the earth, the dust of the ground, the clay. A cup is a vessel, an earthenware cup that you drink out of. And to my mind, what they were trying to portray with that wooden cup that we pointed out was the wooden cup that connected it to the L, the tree stump. If it was a clay cup, clay represents man coming from the ground, him being a vessel, that the things that are put into a man or a woman to hold those things and keep them safe and protect and nurture and develop all the things that you would need to do to be able to weather out the storm that we have as a vessel holding those things. So we are like an ark. Like Adam was created as an ark to have all those 7 righteous things that he should have had in him and did have until it all went wrong. So I think that's enough on the ark. We'll just quickly cover the tent here. I think we did that in the video a bit, but I'll go over it again for anybody who who wants to know a bit more about it. So it's, I think Casey, in his visual thing that he had in the video, it said, "Oh hell, oh hell, oh hell," but it's actually written as ahal, and you have the aleph, the hay, and the lamed, and that is the name for a tent. The tent is the house. The house is what you belong to, where you feel safe, the security of what you belong to and feel safe in and be a part of. So a tent is a nomadic house, whereas I've touched on before the connection with the Egyptians when the Hebrews later on in the scriptures were the slaves of the Egyptians. They were used to being nomadic shepherds and wanderers in the wilderness. Basically, it's about the wilderness. Hebrews are people who wander around in the wilderness, and when they go to Egypt and all the Egyptians are living in houses and building things and creating things and building cities and towns and stuff like that, it all seems to be the total opposite to what the Hebrew way of life was about. And so basically that's the breakdown of the tent. To go just briefly on to back to the threes again with the seed line of Noah again. We have Ham, which I've done here as the blue line, which sort of tried to incorporate that as the blue blood line, that the corrupted line that somehow always seems to end up cursed, same as Cain was, Canaan, Ham's son. That's why I've done it in blue. Ham was the one that saw Noah in the tent, in his natural divine state that the other two were unaware of at the time. And his breakdown of his name is again the Chet, the Het symbol, and the Mem, and that basically is fairly simple. It's a set apart, endless line of peoples, which basically the flesh part of humanity, if you like, is when you're at this stage of the game. Shem Shem I've done green here because Shem is linked later on throughout the scriptures, which we're going to cover in the video this Saturday, and hopefully bring out a bit of that. If not, it will be following ones from that. But you have the geographical in terms of like the location part of the whole scheme of things, and that can be the location on the earth in the whole lands that were covered in the scriptures, and it also links to the actual physical body parts as well, which was amazing when I was led to this, that it just confirmed all of Casey's body code series, and when we spoke about it for the first time, it was absolutely amazing. We both got so excited that it was just confirmation, and we'll be bringing all of that out, hopefully, well, most of it anyway, on the next video. So if Shem is the actual part of the whole storyline that deals with the names, because Shem means name. Shem, I'll give you the breakdown here. It's the Shin, which is the paleo pictograph of 2 front teeth, and when you use your front teeth, you're dividing what you're biting and separating it into separate pieces and consuming what you actually are biting. So it basically means to become a part of what you've actually taken in, and endlessly. So Shem in Hebrew means name. So you'll see in the video that we're going to do that there's just a whole new different meaning to names, that when you just read the words, you just, to us, talking about, reading about people that were around a long while ago, they are just literally ink on a line. It's just a name. What's in a name, they say? Well, there's quite a lot to a name. Japheth, this is the breakdown of Japheth. It actually doesn't sound like how it's written down. When you get to the paleo, it starts with the Vav or the W or the U. Then it has an Aleph, the Tau, the Yod, the Pei, which is a mouth, and the Tau again. Basically, it means secured by the power and strength of the destination that you're heading to, the actions that you take, the words that you speak on your way to that destination. It's quite amazing, isn't it? And Japheth, this is, I haven't found the confirmation of this yet, but Japheth, if these two names here symbolize the flesh part and the location and name of something, then Japheth must be connected in some way to the spiritual side of things. And I'm hoping and praying for direction on this. And hopefully I'll get confirmation with further reading and delving into stuff and digging deep. And I think that's basically all I wanted to say. Now I've probably made a bit of a pig's ear of this job, but I'm fairly tired. I've had quite a workload to do this week, so it's like gone midnight here now, and I'm pretty tired. So hence my rather slow deliverance. I apologise for that, but hopefully I'll get into gear. I was hoping that I was going to get a bit of assistance by my brother, but as we know, he kind of turns in early, and I did try and get in touch with him on Skype, but he's probably flaked out at like 6 o'clock or something. So he's probably going to sleep for 6 hours in France, where he is. So hopefully he'll see this tomorrow and be satisfied with how I've done it, and hope somebody just gets a little bit more of a visual idea of what I was trying to describe in the video the other day. So that's basically it for now, I think. And I don't think there's anything else to add, but hope everybody's well, doing well, keeping well, being righteous, reading the word, and living a righteous life as the Messiah, Mashiach, Christ would have done. And much love to everybody. I love all you people that have been blessed, and I'm blessed to have people come to see what I put out, and praise the Most High for that. And thank you very much, Todah, which is thank you in Hebrew, for watching the video, and hopefully see you all next time and catch up with you then in the next video. Okay, Thanks very much. Shalom.